Hello friends. Today in this video, I am going to be continuing off of my last video and telling the story of Squid Game Season 2. If you want to check out Season 1 before watching this video, I will link it in the description below and we'll have the final Season 3 uploaded once it is released on Netflix in later 2025. But with that out of the way, let's get it started. Episode 1. Bread and Lottery. At the end of Season 1, Ji-hoon was set to board a plane to America to see his daughter, but then received a call from the frontman saying to never return. Ji-hoon then decided he wants to end the games once and for all. The frontman knew where Ji-hoon was because he secretly placed a tracker in his ear at the end of the first season. Then we jump over Jung-jae, who has somehow survived the fall off the cliff and the gunshot he received from his brother. He was picked up by a captain on a boat and now is helping him to try and find the island to expose the games. They're not having any luck though, and it's been 2 years since he was found. He lost the phone with all of the evidence, so no authorities believe him like no one believed Ji-hoon. Back to Ji-hoon, where he has spent the last 2 years trying to find the recruiter, hoping he can lead him to the games. He's used his winnings to hire his old crime boss and his crew to help him look. The boss is Mr. Kim, and his number 2 is Woo-suk, who thinks they're wasting their time, and he believes Ji-hoon is just crazy. Mr. Kim believes him though. Ji-hoon even offers $1 billion to anyone who can find the recruiter. One day at the subway station, Kim and Woo-suk finally see the recruiter playing the game with a citizen. They phone Ji-hoon to tell him, and he says to follow him. On his way there, Ji-hoon is pulled over and given a ticket and then leaves. Jung-jae realizes who Ji-hoon is and follows him looking for answers. Meanwhile, the recruiter found out he was being followed and is able to capture and tie up the stalkers. He makes them play a dangerous game of rock, paper, scissors, and it ends with the recruiter shooting Mr. Kim. To survive, Woo-suk tells the recruiter where Ji-hoon is staying. They then finally confront each other, and the recruiter has them play Russian roulette. It ends with Ji-hoon winning and the recruiter dying. Jung-jae is right outside. Episode 2. Halloween Party. Ji-hoon grabs a card from the recruiter's pocket, and then Jung-jae walks in the room to find out what happened. On the card are the words Club HDH on October 31st, thinking this is the meeting point for the next games. Jung-jae tells Ji-hoon they need to work together, and they both want the same thing: the games to end. Woo-suk tells them he wants to help as well to avenge his crime boss. We then meet a few newcomers to the story, and the first one is Kang No-ul, who has escaped from North Korea, but left her 1-year-old behind, and she needs to find a way to save him. A perfect candidate for the games. Over to Jung-jae, who is talking with his mother, who misses In-ho so much and wants to know where he is. We then learn In-ho gave one of his kidneys to Jung-jae to save his life many years ago. Later, Jung-jae helps Ji-hoon by putting a replacement tooth in his mouth that has a location tracker on it. Ji-hoon then gets all of the crew, and they head to the club on Halloween. Jung-jae notices some people wearing pink jumpsuits like in the game. While there, Woo-suk is ambushed, and then Ji-hoon is brought into a limo where he is greeted by the frontman talking on a gold piggy bank. Ji-hoon tells him to end the games, but it doesn't work obviously. The frontman tells him it is just trash eliminating trash, and the contestants are lesser humans than others. The limo then drives off before Jung-jae can get in it, but they try to follow closely. The limo is eventually able to get away. Ji-hoon sees no other options, and he tells the frontman he wants back into the games. We then learn that No-ul wasn't actually recruited to play in the games. She was recruited to be a soldier. Episode 3. 001. This one opens with Jung-jae, Woo-suk, and a few others getting onto the boat from earlier that had the captain helping out in the search. They are going to follow Ji-hoon's tracker. Then over to Ji-hoon, who awakens in the dormitory for the new games. He is still number 456 like last time. One of the players is Jung-jae, a popular YouTube star that costed people a bunch of money when he told them to bet in a cryptocurrency that failed. Some of those people are other players in the game. Again, everyone playing is poor and there for financial reasons. Another set of players are Jung-sik and his mother, Jung-jae. The worst character of this season is Thanos, who thinks he is better than everyone else. Ji-hoon's best friend from the outside, Jung-jae, is also in the games, and Ji-hoon is sad to learn of this because he knows what's coming. Back to Jung-jae, who learns that the tracker was removed from Ji-hoon's mouth, and now they have no idea where he is. The first game that is played is the same as the last one, red light, green light. Ji-hoon tries to tell everyone what will happen if they are eliminated, but they don't buy it. They find out real quick though when the first person to move is killed by a sniper. Another mass casualty then happens when some of the players storm towards the door. One of the snipers is No-ul. The game ends shortly with the main characters surviving the encounter. Afterwards, Ji-hoon tries rallying the troops so they can vote and end the games. They are convinced until the prize piggy bank is shown at the top of the room and how money is added for every death. As the vote goes, it comes down to the last one and player 001 is the vote. Player 1 decides to stay in the games. We are then shocked to learn that player 1 is none other than the frontman, In-ho, himself. Episode 4. 6 Legs. Apparently, the workers didn't learn the lesson in the first season because some of them are continuing on with their organ harvesting secret operation. In the dorm room, In-ho approaches Ji-hoon and sparks up a conversation with him, being all friendly and nice. Ji-hoon told everyone he was a prior winner, so now some of the players want to befriend him, hoping they could use him as an advantage. Ji-hoon tells them he thinks the next game will be Dalgona, like the first time he played. In-ho tells Ji-hoon he voted to continue the games because his wife is sick and he needs money to pay for her healthcare, when in all reality, he's just doing the same thing Il-nam did in Season 1. Even the exact same number, which should be a red flag for Ji-hoon right away. Another player that joins their little posse is Dae-ho, who is a former Marine. Jung-jae notices that one of the other girls, Jun-hee, is pregnant, and she tells her she's delivered babies before, so she will help out if the time comes. Back to the workers that are harvesting organs, and it turns out Noel is one of them, but apparently has been slacking lately, and her fellow workers notice this. She says she in it for the money to save her child and not to worry about her. In the dormitory, Jun-hee approaches Myung-ji, who actually is the father of her child. He didn't want her to keep it, but she says she is. They are then interrupted when it is time for the second game to begin, and it's not Dalgona. They have to split up into teams of 5 and do a pentathlon all tied up together. Ji-hoon teams up with In-ho, Dae-ho, Jung-bae, and Jun-hee. They are their own little posse now. Luckily, they are one of the teams that don't go first, so they get to watch and study how the other teams are doing and what they should or shouldn't do while going. The first team to go doesn't pass, and they are killed. The episode ends before the two groups we want to win actually go. Episode 5. One more game. This episode kicks off with Hyunju, Jung-jae, and Young-sik's team taking their turn, and while it looks like they won't make it, they eventually do when Hyunju takes control and is their leader. The next group to go is Ji-hoon's team, and they obviously continue with the games, but there is some doubt set in whenever In-ho struggles at the spinning top game. They pass in the end. When they get back to the dormitory, Hyunju opens up and says she is currently in the processing of fully transitioning. She wants the money to have the reproductive surgery. In the meantime, Thanos assembles his own little group of minions that are the bad guys and will do whatever it takes to win, including kill. A little later that day, the players are given the option to vote to end the games once again, and this time player 1 votes to end the games. One of the guys, Jung-jae, tells the others they should do just one more game and then split the money after that. It works, and the players vote to continue through one more round. The sides are clearly drawn into two groups, the ones that want to stop and the ones that want to continue. Ji-hoon remembers what happened in the last games when there were lines drawn in the sand, and he tells his people to keep an eye out later that night because the other side may attack. Luckily, they survive throughout the night and wake up the following day to play the third game. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is still working on the outside to find the island and end the games. Noel was cut by one of the other workers for being disobedient, so she is definitely on the outs with her peers, definitely setting it up for her to turn on the soldiers. The players make their way to the next game arena, and they will be playing a game called Mingle. In this one, all players will stand on a rotating platform in the middle of the arena, and when they hear a number from the speaker, they must find that amount of people and race to a room. Those with the wrong number of people or don't make it into a room will be killed. They have 30 seconds to do so. Ji-hoon tells his team they need to maintain their composure, and they will make it through it. The game begins. Episode 6. O's and X's. The game gets started, and of course it is absolute chaos for all of the players. As the game progresses, it brings out the worst in people, and others throw others out of the room just so they can be in and survive. Ji-hoon and In-ho stick together for the most part, as do some of the other pairs of people. Towards the end of the game, Young-sik gets separated from his mother, and he thinks she died because she didn't make it into a room. It gets down to the last round where only 100 players will survive because there are 50 rooms, and we are relieved to learn that Jung-jae survived, and Young-sik is happy to hear this. In-ho had to kill one guy when he went into a room that already had 2 people in it, showing his evil side too, but Ji-hoon didn't see this. Only Jung-bae did. Meanwhile, on the outside, Jun-ho is back on the boat, and he finds an island that looks familiar, and he flies a drone over it. He finds a trapdoor and gets some of his soldiers to head and check it out. When they get close to it, it is a booby trap, and a C4 device goes off, killing numerous of them. Jun-ho doesn't know what to do next. Back in the dorm area, Ji-hoon wants to know if they have the numbers yet to win the vote because he wants the game to be over. The vote takes place, and while some do switch from stay to leave, there are others that switch from leave to stay. The vote goes all the way down to player 1 who votes to leave the game once again, which is surprising honestly. The vote ends in a tie, and they will vote again the following day. Ji-hoon knows that the other side will try to kill them if they fall asleep that night because they will do anything to stay in the game and win all that money. They even separate into opposite sides of the dorm to draw battle lines. A few of the contestants head to the bathroom and a fight breaks out between Myung-ji and Thanos. Thanos is about to kill him, but then Myung-ji stabs him with a fork at the last second, killing him and favoring the vote by 1 to Ji-hoon's side. They just have to survive the night. Episode 7. Friend or Foe? Season Finale. The brawl breaks out in the bathroom after the fight, and it ends with 5 players being killed. When everyone gets back to the dorm, Ji-hoon does his best to count the votes and see if they have the numbers or not, but he has no idea at this point. Back outside, the captain tries breaking the drone and then stabs the drone pilot and dumps his body at sea. Woo-suk is oblivious because he is down below the deck. The captain has been crooked this whole time and explains why Jun-ho could never find the island for 2 years. He was being led astray. Also, makes sense why he was able to pick Jun-ho up in the first place right by the island. Back inside, Noel continues to try and tell the other workers she's on their side, and she wants back in with the organ operation. In the dorm, Ji-hoon says they shouldn't attack the other side, and they should focus their attention on attacking the soldiers and making their way to the front man, and In-ho hears all of this. As soon as the lights are out, Ji-hoon and his men hide under the beds, and whenever the riot starts as he predicted, the guards come in to break it up, and then they take control of the soldiers and steal all of their weapons and magazines. Some soldiers die, and some are forced to flee. Ji-hoon and his army then advance further through the halls, and they want to make their way up to the control man where he believes the front man is. A huge shootout then takes place in the halls, and it is a super long action sequence, which is something you wouldn't suspect from a show like this, but it's actually really fun. They get some walkies, and a few of the group head further into the halls while the others stay back to defend. Ji-hoon and Jung-jae manage to pass security, and they get near the management offices, and then In-ho tells him he thinks there is a back way around through the halls, and he will go that way with 2 soldiers and attack them from behind while Ji-hoon and Jung-jae distract them. In-ho then goes around, and we knew it was coming. He betrays the group and kills the 2 guys that went with him and joins the pink soldiers as their leader. Ji-hoon orders everyone behind to surrender and go back to the dormitory. In-ho then puts on his frontman mask and walks up to Ji-hoon and shoots Jung-jae dead right in front of him. The season ends with a preview of the next game, which appears to be red light, green light. But there are 2 dolls this time. And that is how Season 2 of Squid Game ends. We'll get Season 3 uploaded whenever it is released. Thanks for watching.